Welcome to our video, Carbon Budget. How much can we afford to emit? In the face of climate change, understanding our carbon budget is crucial for shaping a sustainable future. We'll explore the scientific foundations of carbon limits, the global temperature goals we aim to achieve, and the remaining budget against current and historical emissions. Additionally, we'll examine the impact of non-CO2 greenhouse gases, the unequal distribution of emissions, and the potential role of negative emissions technologies. Join us as we discuss the urgency for action to mitigate climate impacts and secure our planet's future. 1. Scientific basis of the carbon budget. The carbon budget is grounded in scientific research that links cumulative CO2 emissions to global temperature rise. This relationship was comprehensively outlined by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, which serves as the leading authority on climate science. Their studies show that the more CO2 we accumulate in the atmosphere, the higher the planet's temperature will climb. This straightforward correlation allows scientists to calculate how much more CO2 we can afford to emit before breaching critical temperature thresholds. Just as you wouldn't ignore the warning lights on a car dashboard, we cannot afford to overlook these scientific findings. 2. Global temperature goals. One of the cornerstones of international climate policy is the Paris Agreement, which seeks to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius and to pursue efforts to cap it at 1.5 degrees Celsius. These goals are not arbitrary. They are based on scientific assessments of what levels of warming might still allow us to avoid some of the worst impacts of climate change. To achieve these targets, carbon budgets are meticulously calculated. Imagine trying to fit a jigsaw puzzle where every piece represents a ton of CO2. The fewer pieces you have left, the more carefully you must place each one. 3. Remaining carbon budget. Recent estimates suggest that to maintain a 50% chance of limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, the world can only emit about 400,500 gigatons of CO2. For a more optimistic 67% chance, the budget shrinks even further. This may sound like a large number, but consider that global CO2 emissions are currently around 40 gigatons per year. At this rate, our carbon budget for 1.5 degrees Celsius could be exhausted within a decade unless significant reductions are made. It's like having a savings account that you're depleting faster than you can replenish, with no option for a loan. 4. Current emissions. Currently, global CO2 emissions hover around 40 gigatons annually. This level of emissions quickly eats into our remaining carbon budget, making it imperative to implement changes immediately. Without drastic reductions, the goal of limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius could become unattainable in less than 10 years. It's a bit like running a marathon with only a few miles to go but realizing you've been sprinting the whole time. You'll need to pace yourself wisely if you're going to finish the race. 5. Historical emissions. Since the Industrial Revolution, over 2/3 of the total carbon budget for 1.5 degrees Celsius has already been consumed. This historical context emphasizes the urgency of immediate action. The rapid industrialization of the past has set us on a trajectory that demands drastic course corrections. Imagine a ship heading for an iceberg. The longer you wait to change course, the harder it becomes to avoid disaster. The clock is ticking, and history is not on our side. 6. Non-CO2 greenhouse gases. While the carbon budget primarily focuses on CO2, other greenhouse gases like methane and nitrous oxide also contribute to global warming. Their presence further complicates the carbon budget calculations, effectively reducing the amount of CO2 we can emit if these gases are not also curtailed. Think of it as filling a glass with water. If you're already adding other liquids, you'll reach the brim faster than anticipated. Thus, strategies must address all greenhouse gases to be effective. 7. Uneven emissions distribution. Historically, developed countries have emitted more CO2, leaving less of the global carbon budget for developing nations. This inequitable distribution raises significant issues of fairness and justice in climate negotiations. Imagine sharing a pizza where one person eats most of it, leaving only a few slices for everyone else. This imbalance is a point of contention in global climate policy. It underscores the need for a fair distribution of responsibilities and resources. 8. Role of negative emissions. To stay within the carbon budget, many scenarios include negative emissions technologies, NETs, such as carbon capture and storage, CCS, or afforestation. These technologies aim to remove CO2 from the atmosphere, effectively extending the carbon budget. It's like getting a second chance at balancing your checkbook, only this time, the stakes are planetary. However, relying on these technologies alone is risky. They should complement, not replace, efforts to reduce emissions. 9. Urgency for action. Staying within the carbon budget requires rapid, large-scale reductions in greenhouse gas emissions across all sectors. Transitioning to renewable energy, improving energy efficiency, and transforming consumption patterns are all integral parts of this effort. Imagine trying to steer a massive ship toward safety. It requires coordinated action and concerted effort from everyone on board. The urgency cannot be overstated. The time to act is now, and every moment counts in this global endeavor.